been open now for 6 weeks, and the garden originally probably took about 10 years to build. The original concept behind the garden was to try and create an area that's of interest from a gardening point of view, as well as an alternative to visiting the Yarra Valley, apart from being able to visit wineries. We wanted something that was a little bit different. So we slowly created the infrastructure over the last 10 years and are still in the process of filling out the gardens. The original idea of driving through the valley 25 years ago was that it was incredibly lush and wet and green. And what has changed is that the valley is still incredibly beautiful, but it's not quite as wet, but still very green. We have 4 very distinct areas within the garden. One of them is a very European-like silver birch forest, which does surprisingly well, considering the harsh climate in the summer, where it can get quite hot and dry. But because we have planted the trees fairly close, and there's quite a large number of them, as in about 500, it's created a little microclimate where even last year, when the temperature got well over 45 degrees for a few days, the trees suffered very little, and they protected themselves, which as single trees they would never be able to do. So that was very surprising. There have been some other plants that we've tried out over the years and found that they're not quite as successful. And we've replaced them with other varieties that have turned out to be very successful. So it's been a lot of fun creating the changes and adapting to what we find and adapting to the climate itself.
What we've tried to do here at Allewan is create lots of different feelings in the garden. So we have a number of places in the garden. We have the forest, the birch forest that John talked about. We have a perennial border with lots of perennial plants, succulent plants and grasses, and plants that will survive well into 40 degrees and also into -5 frosts that we have in winter. We have another area, a big edible garden, and that consists of avenues of fruit trees and vegetables, herbs and flowers that you can eat in the edible garden. We have 3 little gardens towards the back of the area, a geranium garden, a salvia garden and a penstemon garden, just showing people the different varieties of a particular genus of plant. We also have some other little secret gardens with solar-driven fountains, where just one solar panel drives or runs a little fountain in the particular pond. What we've tried to do with the gardens here is show people what can be done with plants in the sort of climate we have here, which is into 40 degrees in summer and cold winters, and also planting in groups and drifts of plants rather than just dotting plants around, and contrasting plants against each other. So we've got grasses contrasted against succulents, we have succulents contrasted against large flowering bushes. So lots of different sorts of plants that survive the climatic conditions very, very well. In summertime, what we'll be doing is selling produce from the garden and showing people what can be done and grown in this particular climate. So we'll have tomatoes, we'll have silver beet, we'll have potatoes hopefully, and corn. And then towards the end of the autumn we'll hopefully have a good selection of pumpkins this year. We've just been planting our pumpkins just recently. We're just putting in the major summer crops at the moment. It's been a bit too warm in the last few weeks. So we're constantly developing the garden, and we invite people to come and look at the garden at the different seasons, because each season has a totally different character. So in spring we have the wisteria archway and lots of the bulbs and early perennials. Then in summer we have lots and lots of roses and the summer perennials coming on. Then in autumn we have all the fruits and vegetables ripening, and also lots of sunflowers and grasses ripening off towards the end of autumn. In winter we won't be open for the public, we're just open in spring, summer and autumn. So we hope you come and enjoy the gardens and enjoy them with us.
My favourite part of the garden is the forest because it's nice and green and lush.
Every night after school I take my dog Jasper for a walk around all the paths and around the garden, and I love running down all the big long hedges and along all the paths and the archway and in the forest, and yeah, it's really fun running.